At this point, you're probably like, yes, Kay, how are you inside of my head? All of these things make sense, but still, how do I actually use them in my brand? So we planted the seeds up when we were talking about values to start thinking about actual decisions. But before we get into how you're going to incorporate specifically into your brand, it can be really helpful to see big brands that are in your archetype, and that's key, to use as inspiration. So they have $1 million ad marketing brand budgets. And by taking inspiration from people who are or big brands that are inside of your archetype means that you'll stay on brand when you're using them as inspiration. You can't just take inspiration from anywhere because you'll end up being a convoluted mess of different ideas. So here's some big brands that are primarily the explorer archetype. Now, I highly recommend that if any of these especially inspire you, or if a couple of them do, definitely check them out on the web. Search for some of their past advertisements or their past commercials. Look at their catalogs. Soak in as much of the inspiration that you can, because you'll start to see imagery, examples, messages, the actual like word choice that they use. All of these you can use as inspiration for your own brand. And you can see that there's obviously a bent on businesses that help you or brands that help you go places. But then there's also things like National Geographic, which is a magazine and it helps people live vicariously through other people traveling. Johnny Walker is an alcohol in the top middle there. So not everything is about moving physically from one place to another, although you do see a lot of those. You see a lot of explorer brands in those types of brands and industries. So here's two examples. One is from a financial business, which is another good example of an unusual or less common place to see the explorer. And actually, in the industries where it is less common, it can be even more powerful because you're going to stand out so much more from the other people in the market. So it's Pinnacle Financial. They say, start the journey to your financial happiness. So the seeker, subtype there. Crusoe Underwear, also a fun example of an unconventional industry for Explore. Wake up to the adventure inside you. And the dude's surfing in his sleep. It's awesome. Very, very cool. The adventurer subtype there. Okay, so here's a bunch of slogans that you actually see from these big brands. And you can start to see themes. You can start to see patterns. And like I said before, actual word choice that you can incorporate into your own brand. Joy will take you further. Everywhere you want to be. We'll take you there. Life to the fullest. Keep climbing, etc., etc. And again, there's more brands here than what was on that initial page. So if you see something that you like, definitely go see their homepage, look at their about page, do the deep dive that is going to enrich this understanding of your archetype for you. Now, what's fun is I'm giving you like the radio frequency to tune into your archetypes. You're going to start seeing your archetype everywhere, like when you're walking through the mall, when you're in the grocery store looking at different food brands. You're going to start, and especially context for this slide here, as you're watching TV, if you still watch commercials. I tend to stick to the Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime crowd. But if you do watch commercials, they're like little mini stories, and some of them tell the explorer archetype really, really well. So these are linked on the page. Definitely take the time to watch them because they're really rich in messaging, in the visuals, and the stories. So you can actually use the story themes as inspiration for your own brand. Like I said, the websites, some big brands still have bad websites. It still happens. But many of these brands that identify with an archetype have really strong websites. They're the ones that are actually telling a story that people want to hear. North Face says over 50 years of exploration and innovation. Awesome. Safari Live on National Geographic. Adventures Waiting, Build Yours for the Boy Scouts. Awesome. So I'm so excited to see how you use this inspiration in your own brand. I would love to hear some of the aha moments, some of your favorite examples, and perhaps any that you can think of yourself.